So I want to confront the comments that I've received regarding my roommate. First off, I appreciate the input from the person that said my roommate may have just been a vampire. However, as you'll soon find out, that's not the case. Next, there's several comments I received about if my roommate is Slenderman and wants to be friends. Who better to have as a friend if I run into other paranormal things? After what's transpired recently, I actually completely agree with you. I may be terrified of his abilities, but him being on my side is good. Secondly, if you have no clue what I'm talking about, I recommend checking out my post about being pretty sure my roommate is Slenderman. Seeing this title may ruin the ending, but it has some important information. Anyway, let's get into this whole problem, situation, whatever. After a few days of odd occurrences making me question my sanity, I heard Terry calling some people on his phone, making multiple phone calls in succession. I'm not one to eavesdrop, but I did eavesdrop on him for one reason and one reason only. Well, maybe two reasons, but first of all, you guys can obviously tell I'm in fact a Reddit user, though I have been on Reddit longer than this account says. I was around when creepypastas were first getting big. Slenderman, Jeff the Killer, Eyeless Jack, you get the idea. So when I heard my roommate that I truly believed to be Slenderman calling and talking to people named Jeff, Jack, and some others I didn't recognize, I thought this guy was going to have some kind of paranormal sausage fest on a fucking Monday night of all nights. So I made it a point to get off work as soon as possible to check in to see what was going on. Unfortunately, I ended up having to stay 2 hours late because some arsehole called in sick. I briefly considered going to check in during my breakfast break. Then I remembered I couldn't leave this shop unless I had to pump some gas for someone. This is strictly just so we don't miss out on the 2 sales overnight. Not for any paranormal reasons. No, paranormal activity only occurs at my house, not at my job. So when I got home, I was expecting Terry to have completely cleaned the place to hide any evidence. When I actually got there and walked in, however, it smelled and looked like shit. It looked as bad as a Sharknado CGI. I immediately noticed some kind of dried brownish color on the carpet and Terry lying on the couch face down. I snuck over and tried to look at his face, but it was firmly planted into the couch. I slowly began to move my hands towards his face to try and move it and look, but right as I was about to touch his face, some guy said, "What in the actual hell are you doing here?" I looked up to see who was talking, only to see a man with a completely white face with a smile carved onto it ear to ear. Kind of like the Joker, or some kind of creepypasta we all likely know. Needless to say, even though I was expecting some kind of paranormal sausage fest, I pissed myself. "Hello, I'm Terry's..." I regained some of my senses and said, "Can I finish what I was saying? I'm Terry's roommate." I tried to sound brave, but likely sounded like I'd just pissed myself. "Alright, I know. Scary stuff. So you don't know who Terry really is. You look like you know who I am already, so I'm going to be frank. My name is Jeff. Your roommate right there is the mystical Slenderman. Ooh, so scary, right? He's actually a more tame entity when it comes down to it, as am I. Sure, we do pretty messed up shit, but we have self-control. Unlike some entities!" He raised his voice and suddenly I noticed something had been standing behind me. I slowly turned my head to see some kind of lanky furry creature standing behind me. Just as quickly as I noticed it, it disappeared into the shadows. Literally into the shadows that had been cast into the house from the lights in the house. The windows were covered up with a thick curtain for obvious reasons. Okay, first off, what in the actual hell was that? Secondly, you mean to tell me that he is actually the Slenderman? Holy shit, I thought I was losing my mind when I saw tentacle things behind Terry from time to time. I responded with all sorts of emotions. To answer your first question, that was a skinwalker. Technically, humans only know one form of skinwalker, but there are many different types with many different abilities. That one's named Jacob. It can Really? Jacob? No cool name that goes with his appearance, like Shadow or Night or Darkness or something.
Okay, don't interrupt me. If you haven't forgotten, I'm a murderer.
There was an awkward pause. He burst into laughter.
I'm not gonna kill you. Just wanted to see if you're gonna piss yourself again.
What a dick, right? He continued.
Anyway, you wouldn't be able to understand his real name if I said it. But it means darkness of 1,000 voids. Jacob is just easier in conversation at this point. And that's how everyone knows him.
I interrupted him yet again. Wait, what do you mean by everyone? I've never heard of a skinwalker named Jacob that can disappear into shadows.
Stop interrupting me and I will get to all of it. Holy shit, do you have an off switch that isn't your heart? So, basically, skinwalkers have all sorts of abilities based on what turned them into a witch to begin with, meaning the forms of witchcraft that led them to becoming a skinwalker. That one in particular practiced the dark art of controlling shadows. Hence his appearance and abilities you witnessed. Now to the man himself drunk and passed out on the couch. He is in fact the man you believe him to be. I recommend you talk to him when he wakes up. It'll probably be a few hours. Well, man, I'll see you later. I got places to be and people to put 6 feet under.
With that, Jeff put on a face mask. I imagine he's more worried about people finding out his identity than the virus. I figure the reason he didn't tell me not to tell anyone is because he didn't think anyone would believe me anyway. Honestly, after all that happened, I figured everything that happened had just been a sleep-deprived hallucination. I am open-minded, but finding out that Jeff the Killer, Slenderman, and Skinwalkers are all real, who would go along with it unless they already believe they're all real rather than just stories? What sane person would just say, "Oh, okay, seems legit," and go along with their day? So after all that, I decided to sleep. About 4 hours later or so, I awoke to a knocking on my door. I moaned and got out of bed reluctantly. "Yo, T-Man, is that you?" I said, walking to my door, rubbing my eyes.
I think so.
I heard Terry respond from the other side of the door. When I opened it, I suppose I was expecting him to be wearing his usual cover-up. However, I was not expecting his blank face to be staring into my soul.
Hey, so Jeff texted.
Holy shit, oh fuck, holy shit!
Calm your tits, man. I thought Jeff told you what I was,
he said in a kind of confusion.
Yeah, about that.
I calmed down a little. So, I kind of thought that it was all a hallucination. I haven't gotten any good sleep lately, because that I kind of figured I was too deprived of sleep to be thinking clearly. So, I'm guessing I'm not currently hallucinating then. No, you're not. You good, man? You look a little pale, he responded, a bit more understanding. I can imagine. I mean, I just found out a bunch of paranormal shit is real. Do you expect me to feel very well after that? I replied, a bit irritable. Not from him, but of my own ignorance. I suppose it makes sense. But it's not like I've had the same experience as you. It's not like I was human then became the, as you put it, Slender Man. I came into existence with an understanding I wasn't normal. You're the first average human I've shown my true identity to that has lived. The average person can't comprehend my appearance and often go insane. That's actually the main reason I waited so long to show you my true identity. The longer you were around me, even without knowing what I was, your body was adapting to a paranormal presence. After a few moments, I added, "Wait, how does that work?" "Who knows? I've just been around for so long, it's just something I've learned after thousands of years on Earth." Well, man, I appreciate the conversation and the horrific information I've gained today. But I have work tomorrow and I need to get some more sleep, I responded, drowsily. He nodded and walked off to his room after that. Since then, nothing too weird has come up. He's had some interesting friends over, but nothing quite as big as what happened since then.